Holy.
Mother of Jesus, we're recording today. Listen, Linda.
Jesus can't save you here.
I asked Jesus to take my wheel, and next thing I know, I was driving down the 407 with 3 wheels on my truck.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the TowManG Life Podcast.
Welcome to the TowManG Life Podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I am your host, TowManG, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the one Shane Wonder himself, the man with very strong opinions, Mr. PlainGuy.
What is going on, G? What is going on?
Oh, well, you know, being in Canada, I cleared my driveway the other day with the four-wheeler and the tractor, and then the wind came and blew it all back in, so I was busy moving the snow again today that I moved on Friday, which is just...
Oh, yeah, that I think all of the province of Ontario got hit by that blowing snow, and it was insane. The whiteouts that we had. I know I was in the original snowfall on Friday. We had a whole highway closure. I was stuck right in the middle of it. What an exciting, adventure that was. I'll go into a little story time on that. But first, before we do, guys, as you know, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns for the show, you can reach out to us. You can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com. You can search us at the TowManG Life Podcast on Facebook. You can call us at 249-666-2209 and leave a message, or you can visit the website at www.towinglife.ca. Your guys' questions, comments, and concerns are always appreciated. We will do our best to play them on the air. We get some news stories sent in to us from there. Good ideas for coverage. We appreciate all you guys checking us out. Don't forget, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, anything that has the word podcast in it. You can search at the TowManG Life Podcast. You will be sure to find us. We are everywhere. You can listen on the players through the website. If you are over on YouTube, because I always forget to mention, don't forget to hit that like. Don't forget to drop a comment. Don't forget to subscribe so you get notified every time a new episode comes out, which is every Tuesday of the week. We have been What's that?
You're on the ball today.
We
remembered the YouTube.
Wow. I remembered the YouTube. For those of you watching on YouTube, I finally remembered. I always forget, so I do my best. G is always on me after we're done recording, mad and yelling at me because I forgot the YouTube. So for those of you watching, hi. I've always said that I got a face for radio and a voice for silent films. So if you're watching on YouTube, you get the worst of both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm no better.
That being said, story we're talking about, we're down on the 401 this week. It was exciting. We had the snowstorm that hit most of the province, I believe. I don't think there was any part of Ontario that didn't receive snowfall. And I just happened to be heading eastbound down the highway, and all of a sudden I see four ways. I see trucks slowing down. I touch my brakes, and it is glare ice that happened to hit. I see trucks jackknifed in front of me. You get out, the accidents had just happened. We had truck into truck into truck into truck. It was a mess. It was myself and a police officer that were stuck in the middle of it. I couldn't leave if I wanted to. There was no way to go east. There was no way to go west.
Wouldn't be the first time backing down a highway anyways for you.
So when something like this happens, obviously clearing it is the first priority. And we were lucky enough. We had trucks working from the east end. We had trucks working from the west end of this closure. The east ones were clearing the wreck up front, backing down the highway. The other trucks were coming in, trying to get through this major backlog of traffic. I had a genius idea that I was going to, because we were about 3-4 kilometers from where my heavy wrecker was coming from the back end of this wreck. And I decided I was going to try and drive on the shoulder to get up to him, to escort him down, to help clear traffic and move them over as he's coming through. Well, I had seen some tire tracks from a vehicle that had driven down the shoulder. I decided to follow them going the wrong way down the highway. Obviously, it's closed. No one's moving. The thing I realized is that my wrecker is a little wider than his Jeep. And as I'm going down this, I am working the wheel because my left rear has grabbed the edge of the ditch, and it's about almost a foot of snow. And I'm two-wheel drive. As you know, most of our wreckers are two-wheel drive. And I can't stop, because if I stop, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And if I keep going, I'm going to bury it into the ditch. I could just see it coming. You could see the marks the whole way I was sideways. And so I finally decide I can finally see my wrecker up ahead. And I see a gap between two transports. And so I try and park my wrecker up into that gap to get out of the way. Well, when I do, I get the front end up and I get the back end stuck.
Oh,
So now I am stuck blocking the shoulder where my heavy wrecker is trying to come through.
make work project for you.
So with a little creativity, I go and knock on one of the trucker's doors and I say, I need a favor. And he goes, what's that? I said, I just need to use your trailer. What do you mean? Well, I'm going to hook my winch to your trailer and I'm going to pull the ass end of my wrecker back onto the lane to get out of the way of my heavy wrecker. So that's what we did, put a soft strap around the rear end of a loaded trailer. Obviously, you do the calculation for resistance. My wrecker is going to give before his trailer is. And I winch myself sideways. The worst part about all this is as I winch myself sideways and I get back up, I hop out of the truck to watch my heavy wrecker drive by. Well, it's about 2 kilometers I've made it down the highway to where I parked my wrecker to where he's going. And he did not stop because he didn't realize what I was doing or that I was going to be stuck in there. So I began the wonderful walk of shame back up this highway. It was about 2 kilometers. And the cop was chuckling when I showed up because I left in a truck and I came back walking and he has no idea where my truck is. He just knows I'm no longer in it.
Good old UFO Express.
Yeah, so I'm assuming he thought the worst and I buried it in a ditch somewhere. I was still on the road. I was in a safe place and the traffic was stopped. So leaving the truck there was no issue. As we cleared the backlog up to that point. Were you still
facing the wrong way on the highway when you winched yourself back onto the road?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm facing the wrong way in a closure. They're not going anywhere until we clear the wreck up front anyway. So the truck's not going anywhere. So we left the truck there, walked back up, cleared the wrecks, cleared the traffic out, got them all going. The highway got back open and got everything moving. But
did you have to walk back to your wrecker?
No, because we had cleared the traffic up at that point. We were backing down the highway because there was actually, we found out while we were working the original wreck I was on, another couple trucks stuck a couple, kilometers on the other side. So we moved the traffic out. I got to my truck. We drove down the highway farther, cleared up the rest of them. It was, it's always a good time going down the wrong way on a highway. It never gets old.
Now, you say it never gets old, but at some point it does get old though. Right? I know you've been there and I've been there and I'm sure many other people have been there. And you love it and it's so fun and you're just addicted to the industry and what it can offer you. I know anyone from the outside looking in, they're like, that's an addiction. That's a little weird. And it is. It's so hard to explain, but it gets to a point where you're like, I'm done. Yeah. Whether that's you got a bad damage claimed, you're like, well, now I can't afford this or whatever, or it could just be management problems to where you're not happy there, or it could just be even moving. And you're like, I want to try something different. And I know for both of us, PlainGuy and myself, we've both got out of the industry and we're both back in the industry. It's got a very deathly grip, I want to say, of always bringing you back in.
A very weird way of
you want to leave? In. Guess what? Not yet.
When did you leave the industry?
I left the industry last winter. I did not tow last winter. No, it was a funny story. I picked up my dispatching lady because the dispatcher for a towing company doesn't drive. I picked her up from work and I was driving her home. She gave me an unlock. And I got there, I was in my personal truck, and I told that guy, this is the last call I'll ever do. And I'm a liar.
No, it's true. And when it comes to driver passion in the industry and everything of the sorts, I've always said there's humps that you got to get across. There's the 1-year hump, right? The 1-year hump, you find out real quick if a driver's got it. Once he hits that 1-year mark, burnout starts to set in depending on, work conditions and everything else. And a lot of drivers will leave after a year. They won't even make it the year. The next big one is the 3-year hump. And I believe that once you make it past that 3-year hump, there is a good chance you're either not going to make it to the 3 years, or you'll be in it for a good 8 to 10 years after that.
Or life.
Yeah, or life, absolutely. Because that 3 years is, you've seen a lot of it. You've experienced so much. You've learned a lot. By 3 years, as a general rule of thumb, a light duty operator for the most part after 3 years should be able to do 98% of calls without asking for help. Right? There's always going to be that situation. I'm not saying you're going to know everything by 3 years, but you should be able to do 95 to 98% of it without asking for help. If you can clear that 3-year hurdle, because as you tend to come up to it, that's where it starts to get a little boring, a little repetitive, especially if you're not getting those wrecks. Possibly if you're, a roadside only driver where, you're doing a lot of the basic hooking and towing. I can't stand regular towing. Regular towing drives me insane.
Oh, I hate towing.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate towing.
Yeah. I think that's the guys that you find out who really has the passion, because if towing stuff, and you don't like to get out on that weird stuff and have some fun, you're probably not going to make that 3-year mark, in my opinion.
It's like I trained a couple of guys, and I always show them pictures of weird and wacky things I've done with my wrecker. Right, I put ATVs up on the back with the front tires and the wheel grids, and the back tires on 2x4 or 4x4s, so they don't bump into my controls on the actual body of the wrecker. I put a tandem axle, or not a tandem, like a side-by-side sled trailer up on the back of my wrecker because I had a blown bearing. And I show that to both a bed operator and a wrecker operator that we're training. They're like, I didn't think that was even possible. I was like, well, when you show up to these places, and especially if you're new, what is your truck good at? Right? It's good at picking up wheels. So play to your strengths. And you got to play to
it's called
the
a wheel
truck's
lift.
strengths. Yeah, you got to play to your truck's strengths and your own strengths. And especially when training, I was like, it becomes really fun when you can come up with a game plan in your head of how I can tackle this situation. But unfortunately, until you get 2, 3, 5 years into your belt, you won't have the knowledge to be able to really take advantage of those situations that you get put in, because those are going to be bragging rights for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Those pictures that you take.
And depending on the company and the drivers that you work with, you may not get those opportunities, right? If you're at a company who you've got drivers with more seniority, when you get that call for, a Kubota tractor into a pond, speaking from real experience, if you've got a driver with, a year experience, or you've got a driver with 3 to 4 to 5 years experience on your roster at that point, well, of course you're going to want to send the guy with the more experience. But at the same time, your new guys are never going to gain it, by doing that.
Send them both.
What's that?
Send them both.
If call volume allows, absolutely. I always encourage weird stuff if you have the time, meaning as a senior operator, if you get to a site and you go, hey, this is a good one. This is an interesting one. Let me get one of the new guys down here. Let's, what I mean? Let him earn those bragging rights. Let him play a little bit. Right.
Because that's where you build passion as well. Right.
Yep.
Like we idolize TV and movie stars and everything because they do these crazy, unreal things. But we can do crazy and unreal things to a different degree. And if you've got 1 or 2 guys that do, let's say, all your big heavy recoveries in your company, but none of the newer guys can do anything, and they may have an interest in that, they can never explore that and really dive into it, or even get a taste of it to keep them hooked and on that line.
Yeah, no, it's true. And a company like ours, especially when you get into heavies, a lot of the light duty operators love to go out when there's a big heavy wreck. Yeah. We had one recently. The cargo, this thing was a mess. It was a hand bomb job, right? You were hand unloading everything, and it was 50-pound bags of dog food. And a lot of the operators wanted to go out to it. They hadn't been out to a heavy wreck in a while. Some of the light duty guys, absolutely. I got asked, you okay covering? Absolutely. My days of willingly wanting to carry 50-pound bags of anything out of a ditch in the snow, long behind me. I enjoy the recovery side of it, but the labor side that comes with it, as you guys know, I am known for working smart and not hard.
And if you got grunts to do the hard work for you,
absolutely. I've seen enough tractors get rolled in the midair that I can sit one out if it involves not having to carry around dog food and bags like that over my shoulder and slug through the snow for 8 hours a day. But no, it's true. Driver passion is the important one. There is the marks that it makes too. And it's really hard sometimes to keep your drivers motivated during those lulls, right? We've seen it. A driver, you will have drivers on ups and downs, right? In this industry, there always will be ups and downs. 1 week, that guy will be running his butt off for you and, you know, taking everything that he can and helping out everywhere he can. Then that little bit of burnout hits. And, you know, all of a sudden he's off the game, whiny, complaining, all that kind of stuff. It's really fun to deal with. But at the same time, it's how do you remotivate that driver, right? How do you keep that driver coming back? Money can only do so much. I'm a big believer in that. Yes, you always want to make more money. But if it is just every you know, time a driver has, I don't really want to do that, I'm not feeling it, and you just throw more money at them, that driver is a matter of time before they walk out the door. Yeah. Because eventually you can't keep throwing money at them. Eventually the money is going to run up. They're going to hit their cap for what they're good at, you know, whether it be light duty or heavy. Eventually there's always a ceiling. Yeah. And there's training. Training is another great way to remotivate guys. I remember, you know, you hit a little bit of lull, you do your Recmaster 2-3, you kind of get a renewed passion for it. Yeah. A lot of those training programs are great for that. You know, shit on Recmaster, love it, whatever your opinion is. The training is one part, but the passion that they teach you, the brotherhood, you know, a term that has been slammed so much in this industry, the, you know, helping people out, just what they do, kind of, if you were an operator that's in it for the long haul, somewhere like Recmaster will renew that passion in an operator. So, you know, it's a win-win for a company. You know, if the company's covering it, it's 500, you know, inflation's here, probably $700 program now for a weekend, right? You spend that, you invest on your driver, the training that comes with it is great. The renewed passion that comes great. There's, you know, it's about finding those tricks and ways to really bring it back for your driver, especially after a long winter. We know it's coming. The winter, we're still in the dead of it right now. We are feeling it.
And our trucks too, like you're spending a lot of time in these trucks. If you give that operator the ability to make that his truck his own within reason, that will also go a long way as well. I know some companies where they don't even want you to put in like an extra air freshener or whatever, because that's just, this is the cookie cutter truck that you get. This is what you drive. It's nothing special. And then I know other companies where if you want to put flashy lights on your truck, just run it by us first and put them on. Whatever you want to do. If you want to put in a new radio into the truck, run it by us first and put it in. Right? Little creature comforts to make that driver a little more comfortable and be like, yeah, this is my truck and I'm good at my job. And the company's rewarding me with being able to drive a nice vehicle that I like to have my ass in.
That's a double-edged sword, though, at the same time, right? And I've recently encountered this because, you know, we have a driver who has a name on the door. And I think he listens to the episode, and I don't care. Him and I have talked this out. He's got his name on the door, and, you know, we got a couple days where just because of calls and how it all worked out, he wasn't able to be in his truck. He was in a different truck. And that created a bit of a problem. And I'm not saying he's not justified in being upset about it, because yes, absolutely. You know, it is tough when you've been running one truck for so long that you get out and do another one. Your rhythm is off. Everything is off. You know, it's tough to get that back. But at the same time, depending on the company that you work for, it's a company truck. It is not your truck. It is a company truck. So if the company needs you into another vehicle, then you go. And so that's where it is kind of that double edge where, yes, you want them to take a certain amount of pride and you want them to keep up everything on the vehicle. And I'm not a big fan of just constantly seat slipping, but it is a dangerous game and a fine line to walk, because drivers will start to, you know, want that truck or, you know, cause issues if they can't be in that truck. So it's a fine line to walk. It's a tough one.
It really is, because then let's say you've got your own radio, you've moved switches around, you've got a separate auxiliary panel, whatever the case may be. Someone else has to drive that truck because their truck's down or whatever the case may be. Yeah. They probably don't want to, because now it feels like they're intruding on your space. If they damage something, which is always frowned upon in the first place, now they might be damaging your own personal stuff.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be, if you've gone and decked out your truck, there's going to be a specific order you want all your straps and chains and everything.
Yeah.
And I know operators where if it's not back exactly link by link, they get pissed.
Yeah.
Right. And
if you don't put the chains back in the oil bucket, there's hell to pay.
oh, I remember that guy left his J hook sitting in a bucket of oil.
I miss that
all
guy.
the time.
I miss that guy. I hope he's listening. I hope you're listening. You know who you are, oil bucket guy.
Yeah.
If
Now,
you are listening,
this guy carried around a 5-gallon pail of used motor oil to leave his chains in with a separate pair of gloves just to deal with it because he kept the truck so immaculate.
Yeah.
You would never know there's just a big bucket of oil sitting in the toolbox.
man, if you ever like tip that, I never thought of that. If you ever like tip that truck hard into the ditch or anything, or you know what I mean, the mess that would come out of that, oh my God, it would have been a nightmare. Luckily he didn't, or if he did, I was never around for it, so thank God. But gee, that brings us to our next point. All right. I'm going to make one of your terrible segues.
Okay.
Call taker information, meaning roadsides, even dispatchers. Dispatchers, I've showed you much love, much respect in the past. I have also shit on you a ton in my career. Call information, and whether it's a roadside or whether it's your private dispatch through your company, the lack of information that we seem to get, and some of it comes directly from the customers. Let's not solely blame dispatchers. A lot of it can come directly from the customers, but get the goddamn information the best that you can. Don't get the important things. I would rather you ask what is wrong with the vehicle than the color of the vehicle. If I've got to choose between one of them, I don't care that it's a blue Saturn Ion. I care that it's missing a wheel.
Yeah.
Yes, I can figure that stuff out whenever I get there. Don't get me wrong. But get the information. Or, ask the customer, is it an all-wheel drive? Well, why does it matter? Well, because with the trucks that are in the area, it might make a little more sense. I'm not one for sending flatbeds, but it might make sense. I know you've got plenty of stories, G, of misinformation and we're doing the best we can. It's guesswork. Half the time, the towing industry is literally guesswork, and we work around it and make things happen.
So, like one of the companies I used to work for, they had a driver. He drove a 14-ton wrecker. No room for dollies, apparently, on the truck. He didn't want to sling dollies, whatever the case may be. He didn't have dollies on his truck. So the dispatcher at the time had to make sure if the car was two-wheel drive or all-wheel drive before she could send that driver. So she was on the ball all the time, getting all that information. Then that driver left, and she stopped asking those questions. And I've had it before where a call would come in. Okay, it's a Ford truck. Okay, well, is it a F-150, an F-250? Oh, no, it's an F-350. Okay. Is it a dually or a single rear wheel? Oh, I didn't ask. I was like, well, you need to ask the questions before you'll ever get information back. And that can come down to many different things. And it could also come down to not even just on your dispatcher's part, but if you are working for a third-party roadside. I've had a time where it was a busy day, banging around, going through calls in the order that they came in or priority. I was like, oh, there's a lockout just around the corner for me. I'll go quickly do that before I carry on with what I'm doing, right?
Yep.
It's a busy day. It's a quick unlock. I'm going to be there for 2 minutes?
Yep.
So I pull up there and I grab my long bar out and I start opening up the door. And this lady comes walking up and she was like, that door's unlocked. I was like, why'd you need an unlock then if this door is unlocked? Oh, well, I've got no key and it's got to go to Barrie, which is like an hour and a half away from where I'm doing this unlock with 3 other calls on my screen. I was like, oh, I'm here now. Let me just figure out how I can work this into my situation and schedule here.
Yeah, because you've got calls stacked. You've got a
I've got local tows that we've probably already given ETAs for, and they're expecting a truck there. And normally this is not a priority call. This car is sitting in a driveway. It's not blocking a road, and it's going to Barrie for an appointment tomorrow. Like, not a priority at all. I think I ended up picking up the car, taking it to my shop to carry on doing things in town until it was later on in the evening and taking it out to Barrie. just because there was no actual good course of action at that time to do this unlock that was actually a tow to bury, which
And it's one thing if I've seen that before, right? Where the call is a boost. You get there, it won't go with the boost. It's actually a tow. It kind of sets your plans off and, messes you up a little bit because what are you going to do? You're not going to leave, come back. Depending on the priority level, sometimes you might have to look. I came for a boost. If it's anything more than that, I'm going to have to come back to tow it another time. I've got vehicles on the side of the road. I was doing this as a courtesy along the way, but it definitely, and it just messes up your rhythm. I don't know if you're like me, because normally when I get 3-4 calls, I'll sit there, I'll look at the board and I'll go, okay, here to here to here to
yeah,
here.
I program my GPS so it's just click next once I get
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
And I've done that to where, okay, I get there, I'm gonna do this quick tire change before I take this car out 30 minutes away. I back into the driveway so I don't have to walk with my jack and everything. Get out my sockets, and the wheel lug nuts are stripped. I can't fit a socket on, and I'm not about to start hammering a socket on to change over to a dummy tire. That's just not going to fly for me. I know some guys do, and kudos
Yep.
to you for doing that. It's just then I destroyed your lug nut, and I've had to buy lug nuts before, so I don't do that anymore. And then I've got to explain to them, well, I can't tow your car right now because I'm loaded. But I can get another truck to come out at I don't know the time, but it'll probably be within an hour or so, and then it's always a cluster for them. But that's just nature of the beast. If you show up to a call with one on the hook already, unless you're a flatbed and with dollies and a spare wheel lift to go, you might have to leave. But at the same time, if it is through a roadside, you're still going to get paid for showing up. You're going to get another call number for the next guy to come out, or even if you have to come back yourself, it's you showed up to do that service that they told you it was, and it's not that service. It needs something else.
I've seen roadsides get clever to that though, right? And start putting things as like boost possible tow.
Yeah.
And that way, if you send out something to boost it and it can't boost it and it needs a tow, you can't get a second call number because we told you it could have been a tow as well.
Yeah.
Which is a great game to play on the roadsides part of things. Great way to cover themselves. We're seeing it more and more and more, even if it is very likely that it will be just a boost.
Yeah. But I also had another one where I was training a guy at this time, and it was in the middle of a snowstorm. So we're jumping around doing quick winches and whatnot. I think I had 5 calls on the board at that time. I was like, okay, if I can go here, I can do this quick winch, then I can pick up this car, tow it there, and I got another winch there around the corner. It's going to be fine, all hunky-dory. Get to this first winch. Thankfully, I didn't show up loaded. It was for a CRV. Needed a winch just out of the ditch at someone's house. I was like, that's a little weird. No real ditches there. Get there. And the car's just sitting in the driveway. The driveway is cleared. So I go up and knock on the door. I was like, hello, ma'am. She's like, hi. I was like, you need a winch? She was like, yeah. I was like, your car, it's clear. You don't need a winch. She was like, no, it needs to go over to the shop. I was like, did you by chance use the app? And she was like, I did. I was like, and I asked her, I was like, I know this company has an app that you can use, and by all means use it. But if you need a tow, would you please be able to call in just so they have different questions that they can ask you? And during the quarantine time, they also got the COVID questions to ask and everything like that. And we can just get more critical information that we need to make our job do better. So I ended up towing our car over to the local shop. It was an in-town dolly tow, which we probably would have sent to bed for just for ease of operator use. But it was a good training experience for this guy anyways.
Yeah.
Well, she gave me a negative review because apparently I came off rudely after, of course, I'm going to be like, this is going to be a 5-minute winch. And I get here and now it's an in-town tow going the opposite direction of what I need to be going.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a little short. You know. Yeah. We can see it. It happens.
She called in for a winch. Now it's a tow. And so in her bad review, she was like, I don't have Kelvin. I don't know why you need to ask me these questions. I was like, well, I didn't ask you any questions. I was using that as an example of information that we can get from you when you call in and actually provide us with this proper information. Yeah. Hopefully the call taker is going to ask this proper questions to get the information, but that's out of my hands at that point.
Well, the system is only as good as the information that we put into it, right? And we're seeing that a lot with roadsides going to an online dispatch your own, which allows them to have less call takers, have people wait less time. Right. I understand the convenience to it. There's definitely
I
perks
hate it
to it.
though.
I know, because
I'll order
customers
a pizza over an app and it shows up at my door and it's wrong and I'm pissed
imagine ordering a tow truck.
while sitting in the ditch. And for me, I need that human interaction to know that something's actually happening,
Mhm.
right? If I just press a couple buttons on the app, do I really know if that's gone anywhere?
Yeah.
Obviously it is, but it's just for me
Well, a
personally.
lot of times there's inputs that come back, right? They receive messages, your call's been received. This is the company that's going to be attending, all that. But what happens is it doesn't seem like there's a double check system. Like the call will come in and there is a specific spot to put what the fault is, meaning what is wrong, why do you need the tow, why do you need the service, whatever it is, and they'll just leave it blank. And there's no secondary system that catches that to go, oh, this is blank. You know, we need to have the little asterisk that says required field.
Yeah. Or we need an actual team of people that
Mm.
call and confirm this information
Mhm.
before that call gets dispatched.
Mhm.
Right? If you want to put it down on your app, that's fine. We'll call you. If all your information's good, it'll be a 30-second phone call.
Yeah.
If not, we'll need to get a little bit of extra information because then it saves you from dealing with, okay, well, I put in this location because that's where I think I am, but you're not. Or it's mapped you completely wrong on some of these side streets and
Yeah.
concession roads.
Numbers are way off
Yeah.
to the east or west. Yeah, of course.
I know some places have letters in front of the number, and
Ooh, those
most of
always
these
got me.
apps don't pick them up.
Yeah.
And I've gone 13 or 15 kilometers out of my way to a concession 2, and it's actually concession 2 for the next town over.
Mhm.
And this could have all been fixed if you called in and say it's S or
Yes. Yeah.
A or whatever the number is or letter is.
But by
And make
leaving it
sure
up
that
to the
someone
app,
physically writes that down.
yeah,
Right.
by leaving it up to the app, which does have a GPS ping location off the phone, but you have to, I believe, allow it to, track your location, which in a world of cell phones and government chips that everyone's afraid of, get the tinfoil out now. They won't give the permission to the tracking, so they want to manually put in the address, and yeah, it's a nightmare.
In some
But-
of these hills, if you get stuck in a ditch, like out in the rural areas, I've had that GPS pin send me to wrong locations.
Mm.
I said to the guy, I was like, your pin told me you're on this street, but you're actually 3 concessions up, stuck there. And he's like, well, I did the location service.
But a lot of this too, we can't just put it all on the roadside, the roadsides of the call takers. How hard is it to call the member when you're on the way?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm on my way to you. I'm going to be there in 5, 10, 15 minutes. I just want to confirm, where's your location? At one point, we do have to take a bit of the responsibility onto ourselves.
Yeah.
I get the argument. It's the roadside's customer. It's not our customer. So they should be the ones getting this stuff right. But I mean, if it's going to delay you 20, 30, 40 minutes, and at the end of the day, affect the call volume that you can do, especially as a lot of guys up there are commissioned drivers, you got to take it on yourself, right? You got to take it on yourself and make the phone call on the way and save everybody the hassle.
Yeah. But
And we talk about it's only as good as the information that's put in. I've seen customers, non-roadside customers. I had one recently where I seen the notes in the call and he said he was partially in the ditch. And so I went out with my wrecker, and it was a Ford Transit, one of those 250 single rear wheel, but it was a plumbing company, loaded van, way a ton. And I get there and I go, your definition of partially and mine are two wildly different things, very different things, because he is on the side of the road. He is about 15 feet from the shoulder with a wicked lean down on like a golf course. Like he's still technically on the ditch, but I'm pretty sure he's on he's in the rough. And he needs a winch out. Ironically, this kid, it was the second time we pulled him out that day. We pulled him out off an off ramp earlier in the day. But you know what I mean? It's only as good as the information that even the caller. A lot of people seem to think too, if they give us lighter information, like, oh, I'm just off the road or I'm partially in the ditch, especially for private companies or private customers, they seem to think that it'll be cheaper. Or because they want a quote. A lot of times that's the best, right? They want that quote based on, I'm just partially in the ditch, how much to pull me out? And then you quote them, whatever it is, let's say $85. And then your operator gets there and the goddamn thing's upside down 100 feet from the road. And your dispatch told me it was going to be this much. Yeah, well, my dispatch was going off the information you gave them. Clearly, the information was not accurate.
No. And the other thing is too, when dispatchers or anyone's talking to these people, they're in a situation they're not normally in, right?
True.
So we had a situation where a gentleman called into the company I work for. He's like, I'm in my Hino truck. It's a 30-foot box truck stuck in a driveway. I need a winch. And my dispatcher said, well, winches start at $85 and they go up from there.
Right.
Well, when you say that, whenever you say a number or a price point, that's what they expect.
100%.
And if you say could be $85, could be 100, they're expecting 85 normally, right? They always lowball you on your quotes, right? And to be fair, our medium duty winch outs do not start at $85. That's a light duty winch.
Yeah.
But I got out there and I literally just hooked a chain up to this truck and off my wheel lift and put it in 4-wheel drive and drove out onto the road. It was the easiest option because to try to winch, then I'm going to be blocking the whole road and everything like that. And it worked fine. And I told the guy he was expecting $85. I was like, I'm just going to honor your $85. It was quick. It was easy. Just next time you call, it probably won't be $85. Just
Right. Fair
keep that in
warning.
mind. Make sure you make them aware of that. Like, I'm doing you a solid this time. There is a bit of broken telephone, whatever information that got out. This is our actual starting rate.
Mm.
And if you call us again, that's what I'm going to have to charge you next time.
And sometimes you got to eat it like that. Sometimes you just got to go ahead and eat the miscommunication. Makes for good customer relations.
Yeah.
That guy will call you again, right? We had one the other day, 5 cars in the ditch because of the whiteout. We were talking about the blowing snow.
Yeah.
We billed for 4 of them. A couple were roadside, a couple were private. The one I was doing, I told the lady, I seen her when I gave her the price. She's fumbling, trying to put cash together. I just said, you know what? Your car is going to break down again. I could tell by the type of car. This one's on us. Here's my card. Next time you need something, you know who to call. And we'll not that we'll get you on the next one, but at the same time, build that customer relation, right? We've talked about that, the odd little freebie you got to do.
Yeah.
And public relation and public image go a long way.
I've been driving down some of the suburb streets and little subdivisions, and I've just seen a car struggling to get out of their driveway, whether it's just an older gentleman and he can't shovel the windrow, or they're just late and they don't have time, and just give them a quick yank or even just push them out of their driveway and just don't worry about it. Just carry on with your day, pay it forward. I always tell people, if I give anyone a break or do something for free, pay it forward, because now if they go out and do good things, that's even better, and they're going to remember that company and you, hopefully. Hey, that guy gave me the opportunity to pay it forward, hopefully.
Yeah.
And they'll always associate you with that feeling, and
you don't
call again.
You don't want to get associated with. We are, for the first time ever, we're trying this out, guys, so bear with us if you're watching over on the YouTube side. If you're listening on the audio side, you unfortunately won't be able to see the video. I will do our best to describe it. We do have a news article coming out of the chase capital of the world, Brampton, Ontario. Brampton police charged tow truck driver caught running red lights on viral dash cam video. So, guys, it's important to remember, everybody has cameras now, whether it be on their phone or whether it be dash cams. They are out there like crazy. Don't get caught doing something stupid as this gentleman did. We will link the article in the description on all, whether it be on the podcast, whether it be on the YouTube channel, so you can go over and read the article for yourself. Check the video out for yourself. But police in Brampton, Ontario have arrested a tow truck driver. Pretty aggressive. So obviously there was some seriousness to this, and charged him with dangerous driving, racing a motor vehicle, running a red light, failing to signal, and more after dashcam footage of a white dually GMC pickup doing all the wrong things in multiple intersections was shared online.
He's a real winner.
The video was initially posted on YouTube and Reddit, but the Peels Police Road Safety Service Division was also happy to retweet the misbehavior after it had had a chance to go viral, and their officers had a chance to visit the 31-year-old driver. The cops had quite the fun with it. The caption on the video is, "Tow truck drivers and drivers in general, please be aware that drivers now have cameras in their vehicles and have no issue sharing their footage with the police. Our Safe Roads team arrested the driver of this vehicle after a thorough investigation." We'll play the video right here. You will see this guy pulls up with his dash cam on. He's at a red light, clearly at a red light, and he's sitting there. And out of nowhere, when that light turns green, this tow truck comes flying by on the left-hand side, whizzes around the traffic, on the wrong side of the road, merges back in, and he is booging. Funny part is he didn't get very far because he ran into them, it looks like, at the next light. He's halfway into the intersection. The light is still red. And he's waiting for turning traffic, and this guy decides, I'm going right through the intersection. Gone, takes off. There's still traffic turning. It's still a red light. It's a sight to see. So they not only charged him, they arrested him for this. I mean,
yeah, there is no, oh, sorry, I couldn't stop in time for that.
Right.
He was stopped.
Right.
He just decided to, this seems like a good spot to run through the red. And
I'm guessing there was some sort of accident. I know that Ontario has brought out laws when it comes to police towing to try and curb this problem best that they can.
I'm surprised he didn't have his beacon light on. Look at
I'm
me.
actually surprised he didn't have all the strobe lights on. You are correct about that. Now, I don't think that I don't know if there was a good shot of the company name, but I mean, that second version of it, you know what I mean? And we'll run it back again while we talk about it. I'm pretty sure that second version of it, there was clearly enough time to get a clear plate shot. I love the fact that he drives as recklessly as he does. He flies around the traffic like this on the left side. Mind you, this was a green light. Goes around the left side of a vehicle turning, heading the opposite direction, like unreal. But then it looks like I said, they run into him at another.
And it looks like he's over the yellow line there too.
Oh, he's over the crosswalk.
Yeah.
His dualies are a foot to, you know what I mean, on the wrong side of the crosswalk.
Yeah, like you've got left turning traffic going both directions, and he kind of just cuts through them.
Yeah, he just had zero regard.
That guy had no fucks to give.
He
searched. He
zero.
couldn't find any.
He is zero. I'm sure he had a couple after the police gave him a visit. That's for sure.
Yeah, but it's like people like that give the rest of the industry a bad name. I'm not sure if you had to go poop or if you had a family emergency or anything like that. Please do not drive like that. Anyone out there, if you watch that video, please do not drive like that. If you want to speed a little bit, that's between you and your gas pedal. But cutting over into oncoming traffic in the middle of an intersection to pass people just to get stopped by the next light does not make you or any of us look good at all.
No, sure, right? This guy's like that. Remember that story we shared months back about the driver who'd have been arrested already like 3 times for stunt driving?
I think that was like the first episode we ever did.
Yeah, that was one of our early episodes. Yeah, this guy might be related to him.
Yeah, that was also in Brampton too, I think.
Yeah. I know that might. Well, it's Peel Police, which covers that Brampton area, but yeah, no, he definitely shares beliefs in driving ability with him. I'll give him that.
A couple of characteristics, yeah.
And good luck getting insured after that. But the more important part, not only is this reckless and dangerous and absolutely stupid, it's the fact that we live in a world where there's cameras everywhere now. What happens as soon as anything happens nowadays, whether it be an accident, anything, an argument, anything, phones come out. Phones come out and
people record it before they call 911. It's like, what are you doing?
It's a sad state of affairs. It really is. But we know that is how things are. So if you are going to drive around like that, like it's only a matter of time before you either, kill somebody or hurt somebody seriously, get pulled over by the police, or get caught on video like this doing it.
And it's not even so much just driving recklessly. People have cameras everywhere. There is cameras littered everywhere. And with someone taking a video, we touched on this last episode with our guest, a video can really impact you. And you just got to really watch your P's and Q's and watch what you're doing at all times. And just, if you're going out like this guy was and just being an idiot, yeah, it's going to happen to you. People are going to get video camera footage of you being an idiot.
Absolutely.
But there's other times where you think you're in the right and someone videotapes it from the wrong angle and it just, turns it. So it's always, you got to watch your back out there and just make sure everything's all covered and all hunky-dory.
You'll never cover it all, but do your best to at least protect yourself the best that you can. Doing shit like this guy did, absolutely unacceptable. We've reached out before. If anyone knows who this guy is, if he wants to give his side to the story, by all means, have him contact us. I would love to hear what, you know what I mean? You must have had to poop.
Yeah.
because there is no other, even that's not a justifiable reason, but I mean, God damn it, man, you can't be doing that. So
I don't know. When I gotta poop, I drive a little.
well, before this takes
a
turn, before this takes a turn for the worse, we're going to take this opportunity to bow out respectfully before G gets on to any other topics that could get us into trouble. So, as a reminder, guys, you know where to find us. Visit us at the website, towinglife.ca. Email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com. Search for us at the Towing Life Podcast on Facebook. You can call us at 249-666-2209. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It is very important to us. Leave a comment. It definitely helps with the algorithm. The community continues to grow. We appreciate you guys stopping by every episode, hanging out with us. Those who watch on YouTube, check out the video. Those who are listening on the audio side, you can go over to YouTube as well. Doesn't hurt. Listen to us twice.
Yeah.
Twice is nice. So,
Well,
G,
it might be a little more boring the second time. So I would recommend watching the YouTube side first.
absolutely. That being said, G, why don't you take us all out? Let's get out of here. We got work to do. It's winter time.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully everyone's staying safe. Make sure to cover your ass out there. If you got to poop, drive a little slower, because if you get pulled over, they won't let you poop as soon as you get into jail. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Doodles.